the database called C1. I'm connected as the user HR through this connection. I'm going to pull up the employees table. Now in this tutorial, I'll be referencing three specific columns, which are the first name column. The first name column is a varchar2 or a character kind of column. The hire date, which is a date type of column, and then you have the salary, which is a numeric column. I'm now going to the SQL worksheet window where I'm going to write my first select statement as select star from employees. When you write a select star type of statement, you are asking Oracle to retrieve all the data from the table, which is all the rows and all the columns. I'm going to scroll horizontally. You can see that a number of columns were retrieved. I'm going to then scroll vertically for you to see the total number of rows that were retrieved, which were 107. In the next example, I'm going to retrieve three specific columns from the table. They are the first name column, the salary column, and the hire date column. I'm going to execute the statement. This time, only three columns were retrieved in the output, but the total number of rows that were retrieved were once again 107. In the examples that I showed you, I retrieved all the data and then I retrieved specific columns. However, in both the cases, all the rows of the table were retrieved. Now, sometimes you may want to retrieve data based on a given condition. You don't want to see all the rows, but you want to see those rows that satisfy a user-defined condition. When you want to do something like that, you need to write the where clause. The where clause is always written after the from clause, and the syntax of the where clause is where, and you will write a condition where the condition will take the format of column name, operator, and value. The column name would be a column from the table. The operator could be a relational operator such as greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, and not equal to. And then you have a value that you are comparing for in the column, in the table. Here I have, let's say I want to write a query where I want to retrieve these details for the employees whose salary is greater than 15,000. I've written the where clause as where, the column was salary, the operator was greater than, and the value being compared is 15,000. If I execute the statement, I will see the details, which are the three columns that I requested, and the number of rows that satisfied the condition were these three. Salary was a numeric column, and 15,000 was a numeric constant. Now in the next example, I'm going to write a query where I'm going to reference a character column. Here I want to retrieve these details for the employees whose name was Nina. I'm using an equality because I knew the name and I am giving the value Nina in the condition. I'm going to now run the statement and I'm going to get an error. Now the reason I'm getting the error is because the value Nina is a character string. When you are writing the where clause and you're referencing a character column and you're writing the value for comparison, you must enclose that value in single quotes. I'm now going to execute the statement. This time I do not get any data. However, I'm pretty sure that I have an employee in the table whose name was Nina. I'm taking you to the Employees tab, pulling up the data so that you can look at the value Nina in the table. Observe that the first name values are all in mixed case. That is, the first letter was in uppercase and the rest of the name was in lowercase. Now when you are writing a where clause and you are comparing a character column with a character string, the value that you are writing must be in the same case as the way in which the data in the table is stored. So because the value was stored in mixed case for first names, I have to mention the name Nina in exactly the same case, and I'm now going to execute the statement and I get one row of output. In the next query that I'm going to write, I'm going to reference a date kind of column, which is the hire date column. Let's say I want to retrieve these details for those employees who were hired after the 31st of December 1998. The operator that I'm going to use is the greater than operator. The value that I had in mind was 31st of December 1998. Observe that I've enclosed the date type of value in single quotes, and I've used what is called as the default date format, which is dd-mon-yy. I'm now going to execute the statement. I get the 3 columns, and the total number of rows that were retrieved were 29, and if you notice the values, these rows they all match the condition of the hire date being greater than 31st of December 1998. In this tutorial, I showed you how to write a where clause with other operators. I'm going to begin SQL Developer. Here I have a connection with the database called C1, and I'm connected as the user HR through this connection. I'm going to expand tables and pull up the employees table. Now, if you notice the employees table, it has information about employees, their ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, hire date, and so on. I'm now going to go to the SQL worksheet window, where I'm going to write some queries using a where clause. Now, in my previous tutorial, I began the discussion on the where clause, where I introduced you to the use of the where clause in the restriction of data. In this tutorial, I will show you some more operators that can be used with the where clause. The specific operators that will be discussed are the between and operator and the in operator. I'm going to begin with the between and operator. The between and operator is used when we are restricting rows based on a range. Now let's say you want to retrieve the details of employees who earn a salary within the range of 10,000 and 20,000, both 10,000 and 20,000 inclusive. This can be done by using a query using a between and operator. I wanted to retrieve all the details, so I'm going to do a select star. The data is from the employees table, so I'm writing the from employees clause. And now, because I want to retrieve the data based on a range, I'm going to use the between and operator in this manner. I wanted to retrieve those employees whose salary, so it's the salary column that's being compared within a range. So I have salary between 10,000 and 20,000. Now I'm going to read the statement to you once again. It's select star from employees where salary between 10,000 and 20,000. 10,000 is known as the lower limit. 20,000 is the upper limit. When I execute this query, both 10,000 and 20,000 will be included in the output. Now over here, the total number of rows that were fetched were 18. That means there were 18 employees whose salaries were between 10,000 and 20,000. If you have a look at the salary values right here, notice that all of them are within the range that I have specified. Now this was the first example of the between and operator, where I used the between and operator in conjunction with a numeric column. In the next example, I'm going to retrieve the details of employees. Once again, I'm going to use the between and operator, but this time I'm going to use the hire date column, which is a date type of column. Let's say I want to retrieve the details of employees who were hired between the 1st of January 1998 and the 31st of December 1998. That is in the year 1998. Now the column that I'm comparing is the hire date column. I'm going to use the between operator, and because I'm using date values, I'm going to enclose the values in single quotes. 1st of Jan is the first day of the year. I'm going to use the and operator, and the last day of the year was 31st of December 98. I'm going to now execute the statement. And what you will observe is that all the values that you are seeing for the higher date column are values where the year is 1998. Okay, and a total of 23 rows were selected for this query. Now finally, the last example of using the between and operator will be based on a column which is a character column. Let's say I want to retrieve the details of employees whose first name is within the range of, let's say, the letter B to the letter D. So I'm going to write a where clause where I'm going to reference the first name column. I'm going to write the between operator, and the letters that I'm going to use are the letters B and D. I'm now going to execute this statement. This time only 6 rows were fetched, and observe the first name values. They are all they are all names within the range of B through D alphabetically. So I have a number of people whose first name begins with the letter B, and I have some whose name begins with the letter C. I don't have any names beginning with the letter D. Now, so this example showed you how you could use the between and operator with character columns, date columns, as well as numeric columns. Now in the next example, I'm going to show you the use of the in operator. The in operator is used when you are comparing a column with many distinct values. Say we want to retrieve the details of employees who belong to either department number 80, 90, or 100. Now I'm going to use the department ID column, so I'm going to remove this part of the where clause. I'm going to reference the department ID column, and now if you recall, I said that I wanted the details of employees who were either in department 80, 90, or 100. Now I had 3 distinct values that I needed in the comparison, and when you have multiple values to compare a column with, you make use of the in operator. The values which you are comparing the column with are to be enclosed in parentheses and separated by commas. So here I have the value 80, followed by the value 90, followed by the value 100, all separated by commas enclosed within parentheses. I'm now going to execute the statement, and if I scroll to have a look at the department ID column, observe over here it's the last column. You have some 90s, you have some 100s, then you have 80s, and that's all we have. The total number of rows that were fetched were 43 rows. Now I'm going to use an example where I'm going to reference in the where clause a column that takes character values. Let's say I want to retrieve the details of employees whose last name was either King, Fox, or Bull. Okay, so I'm going to write where first name, I'm sorry, it was where last name. The last name was in King, Fox, or Bull. Here I have 3 values, each of them enclosed in single quotes because it's character data. Now I'm going to execute the statement, and this time it's not giving me any data. The reason is, if you recall my explanation in the part 6 of the where clause, where I was talking about comparison with character strings, I mentioned that the character data was case sensitive. So I'm going to make sure that the case is mentioned correctly. It was uppercase K with lowercase ing, uppercase X with lowercase ox, and then finally uppercase B with lowercase ull. I'm now once again going to execute this statement, and this time I have 2 rows where the person's last name is King. I have 1 person with the name Fox and 1 person with the name Bull. So here we have a select statement where in the where clause I'm referencing a character column. I'm comparing that column with multiple distinct values, and because it's character data, it needs to be enclosed in single quotes as well as it's case sensitive. Now finally, in the last example, I'm going to retrieve the details of employees and I'm going to reference the higher date column, which is a date type of column. I'm going to try to find out the employees who were hired either on the 23rd of Feb 1999 or the 23rd of Feb 2000. Now once again, I have 2 distinct values to compare the column with. Because it's a date value, I'm going to enclose the value in single quotes. Also, because it's a date value, I'm ensuring that the format that I use is a dd-mon-yy format. The other date that I wanted was the 24th of Feb 2000. I'm now going to execute the statement. And this time there were two employees whose values have been retrieved. One of them was hired in the year 2000 and the other one was hired in the year 1999 for the same day. So in this tutorial, I showed you the